We're gonna paint with Josh. Put the boom boom into my heart. Set my soul sky high when your painting show starts. Paint with Josh into my brain. He's gonna paint, paint, paint till he drives us insane. Something's bugging you, something ain't right. Your best friend told you what he painted.
Hey guys, what's happening out there in internet world? You guys, we're going to do a cool little painting today, and this one is not available. It just already got pre-purchased before it was even done by Cosmic Lighthouse. So she's going to need your help in titling the painting later on, but that's later. Let me tell you what we're doing right now. So as you can see, I'm scrubbing on to this canvas what looks like a black paint, but it is not. Otherwise it would have covered over all this white acrylic moon that I had already laid out onto here, right? If you want to learn how to do these moons, I've got a tutorial that shows you exactly how to do it. It's over there in the how-to playlist on my Tubies over there. So you gotta go check it out. Also, we're streaming this one horizontally to the tube and the book tonight. And we're going vertical on TikTok, like always, you know what I mean? So, we're taking our liquid clear, which is very much like linseed oil, and we're scrubbing it and massaging it into the canvas a lot. You know what I mean? You want to fill in the billion little pores that are all into this canvas. Okay, we took our white canvas initially. Well, actually, this was a black canvas. And then we have our acrylic gesso in white and black, and just used a circular, like a little bowl. This is the inside of a tape roll, which is always one of my favorite sizes to do. Super easy, and I've got that little how-to video in the quote-unquote how-to playlist. So it even has a video that shows you how to put on the liquid clear. So welcome in, everybody. I'm PaintWithJosh. Nice to see you. You guys check in and let me know where you're watching from around the country, around the globe. Let us know where you're from out there in the night. Maybe I can see some comments and we'll try to give some shout outs and such. Where are you guys from out there? We got Iowa. Excellent. Bonnie. Western North Carolina. Kansas, Vermont. Oh, we got Mercury. I like that. How's the temperature there? Is it warm? Or are you on the backside of Mercury, which is literally ice cold? Which blows my mind, by the way. How can you be so close to the hottest thing in our solar system, but the backside of it is ice cold? You know what I mean? It's crazy. And it's the same thing. Like, have you ever sat next to a fire and you're out there like camping wherever it's cold? You're sitting next to the fire. The front side of you is nice and warm, and your back is freezing, right? And then you have to rotate around and warm up the backside. It's just mind blowing, though. How that something can be that close to something that hot and still be cold on the back. It's crazy. Okay, let's take our liquid clear, right? We put it across our whole canvas. It's a 16 by 20 inch canvas. Like I said, you can learn how to do moons like this over on the tubes in the how-to playlist. And now that the canvas is wet, we're going to take our phthalo green and our blue and purple and kind of light up this whole thing with these dark colors, right? Now, all we're going to do is kind of decide, maybe I want the eye of my wave right in there. A little bit of my phthalo green right underneath my moon, okay? Let's pop in. Let's do a little bit out into the sky. I'm going to color some of these planets as well, but I just want to have a little pop of that phthalo green out there. And you can see the stars that we crisscross over will change into a phthalo green color, but you can't see it on the black canvas, right? That's the definition of a transparent color. It's amazing. It's gorgeous. Right? Now, again, another definition. If I were to crisscross or put some sort of paint back here behind this little planet, maybe it's got a little foresty area or there's some sort of something happening out here, and I don't want to have too much paint covering that area, because the more that I put on here, the more it's going to cover up my little acrylic painted details, right? So we'll go and we'll put some other colors on there in a minute. I'm going to dab this guy off real good too, because we probably should have started with our Indian yellow. I just want to have a little touch of this Indian yellow out here, just right there, right on that little star, so it's nice and bright yellow, especially when we go to brighten it up. Now, let's get that color off our brush, and it doesn't even matter if you don't, because we're going to make green anyway. Let's go into our blue. Grab our blue. We're going to go on top of this eye of our wave back here, so we have our little horizon. Has some blue color behind it. We're also going to go underneath the eye of the wave, back underneath here. And they don't even have to connect. If they can, they don't have to though. Right? Our goal is not going to be to put too much paint right there anyway. Nice long straight strokes, except for our eye, which was on a little angle. Super easy, you guys. Let's pop a little bit of that blue out here, kind of mix it around, pushing it. And then let's just say we wanted a little blue planet out there, like David Attenborough would be narrating the story of this little bluish greenish planet out there, which we're going to brighten up with our white and give it a little bit of almost like an atmosphere on that planet. It's gonna look really cool. Right? Again, the more color that we pull over those planets, the more different they're gonna look. Now remember, we're only really using 3 colors today. So we've got our blue and our teal and then our purple. And so, depending on what color I want, can make a planet look however I want it to look. That's the best part about space paintings, right? You can use any color, you can make them any shape, you can say anything, because it's literally out there somewhere, right? And you know what we're going to do too? Glad we didn't overdo it too much, because we're going to use our Van Dyke brown as well. And that Van Dyke brown, minus all of that skin right there, is going to take over our bottom area to have our sand, right? Need it to be a dark brown color, so we're using that Van Dyke brown. I'm also letting it blend in with that bluish area back there. I don't really need the wave to be too enormously huge in this painting, because if it is, that brings it too close, right? We need it to kind of push back a little bit, so maybe we can throw a little galactic palm tree in here somewhere. Now that I've got that brown on here, right, maybe we can start changing up what it looks like, right? How do you want, or where do you want that color to be? And remember, the more that you push onto this guy, the more you're going to cover up all those acrylic details, right? So you are in control of how it starts to look. That's really neat. It's really neat, especially if we grab some of that purple, a little touch of our purple back here, right? You can really make the back nice and dark. Up to us, maybe, just maybe, we got a little bluey ocean right there in the center, just a little bit darker in the color, right? You can decide what it looks like. You can go back and brighten it. You can do all sorts of things, right? You've got all the time in the world. We're just up here throwing some stuff together, but look at that. Almost like Mars, you know how it has that big rip or that big gap through the center? Really, really cool. Now, if we're going to do a palm tree, that also means we can use crimson, guys. Now, the crimson and the green do not like each other, right? But if we put the crimson around the bluey, then you can all of a sudden change the look of a planet. Right? All up to us. Seriously, you are deciding what you want. I'm just showing you some cool, oh, wow, that looks neat. Doesn't that look neat? Oof. Right? We get to pick when to stop mixing it, when to do different things. That looks really cool. Right now, we haven't even started playing with any white or anything, and we didn't really do anything else. Seriously, let's put a little bit of our purple kind of back around here, just into our sky back here, just so we can say that we painted the whole canvas, right? Don't want to hit my little yellow area right here for sure. Got to keep that guy nice and bright. But look at that, Cosmic. What do you think of that little planeta out there? That looks fantastic, if you ask me. I mean, I'm kind of biased. They're my paintings, right? But they're very cool. Wow, look at that. That looks really neat, dude. Now watch, if we grab a little 1-inch brush and we get out here and we start playing around with this guy and maybe going, okay, see, that's way too much paint, which is why we teach the wet on wet technique, is you can use a little bit and then kind of mix it around, right? And soften little areas, brighten little areas. I love this rip. This rips right here in the front. Look at that. It's like a gouge in the planet. Okay, that's cool looking. I like it. I don't want to do too many things. You know what you do? You do too many things, and then all of a sudden, everything has to become brighter and brighter and brighter, and then it's just like, ugh, you lose all your depth because everything gets too bright. All right, I'm going to go back to my bigger brush and go back to that crimson paint and bring that color back up around here just to keep it a little darker, right? It's up to me. Oh, dude, it almost looks like you could almost see the interior of that. If I brightened it up, you could see the core of the planet. Dude, you've seen Star Wars, Vonnie, right? With the planet that is the weapon, and it shoots out the whole crazy thing and just gets all of those planets at once. Yeah, you could imagine that, right? But when they expand the Death Star to make it a whole planet it's in the newer ones. I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, it takes out multiple planets at once with one blast. Really cool. I like it, dude. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. We're going to bring, as I mess with it some more, we're going to bring a little bit more of that brightness just right in there. There, just right there. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Okay, a little bit more white. I've dabbed off my brush. We're going to come on to this little guy, okay? We're going to brighten up his front side, and then I'm allowed to push a little harder and expand and have a little bit of an aura, little touch of an atmosphere around this guy. And all we're doing is pushing that paint, extending this little aura around there, right? So you can have this gaseous planet. I'm kind of gaseous, depends on what we eat. But fabulous. Look at that little thing. Soft, misty, crazy. Let's put a little bit of purple around the backside too. Just a little bit of purple. What was that? Something fell. I don't think so. Either way. There, a little bit more of our purpley bit. There we go. See the light, and you get that shadowy side. Fantastic. Okay, let's throw in one little touch of cloud back here. All we're going to do is take our titanium white paint, very small amount. We don't need a whole lot. Okay, we're only going to see bits and pieces out here in the night. So you don't have to paint everything. You don't have to see every piece. Look at that bluish, tealish color. That's fantastic. I'm going to take my 1-inch brush and start to mix very lightly. Okay, if I start mixing and it doesn't mix away very lightly, then I got to push a little harder. You know what I mean? That's up to however the paint wants to flow across our canvas. Look at those cute little things. You can even float it right underneath our moon, let it get darker as it goes back that way, right? Out here, it's dangerous to take it on the brush, but if you get out there, right, you can do all sorts of stuff. Just don't make it too bright. There, take this guy and kind of pull that extra paint right down there, get it nice, and you have to push real hard to get it down that far. You know what I mean? If you have too much paint or too much brightness, it's going to extend too far. And so we just want to use a little bit and then base off our pressure and push on that guy a little harder, make it a little brighter. Look at that. That is cool, dude. Now remember, you don't want to have too many details up here because this one is more detailed, it's more closer, right? That's why we kind of fade this one out a little bit, give them a little aura. Very cool. Are we doing commercials today, Lennon? Yeah. Sweet. Well, I mean, here's a good chance, a good break, a good chance to stutter and ruin the show. It's perfect. So, you guys hang out for about 30 seconds, and we'll be back right after these words. Have you watched like 1,000 Paint with Josh videos and you just can't seem to get it right? Let's do a virtual class where I can show you how to use the brush, show you how to contact the canvas, pick up the camera, and show you angles you've never seen before in a Paint with Josh video. So check out the site, scroll down a little bit, see the calendar, book your day and your time, pick a virtual class, and then we'll meet up via video call. I'll email you and everything's gonna be fantastic. So let's get back to the show and see what we've been up to while we've been gone. Let's see what we've been doing since we've been gone. All I did was clean a 2-inch brush. That was pretty much it. So what do you guys think of the cool commercials over there? Only 30 seconds-ish. Some are shorter, some are a little bit longer, but you'll love them. Now, let's take our white paint, kind of fold it down, right? So we're kind of pushing it flat, almost wiping off our blade. And that way we can come in here and cut a little tiny little roll out there on the end. Right, little teeny tiny little guy. Now above our eye, we know our eye wants to be right here, which means our wave wants to roll up and crash over and have all these cool little bits, right? So above that, we have to, you can even start, I mean, we do a lot of things, but you can tell we're pineapples today. Let's get crazy. Start it out on your horizon and start getting lower and lower and lower, right? All you have to do, get a little bit lower from wherever you started up there. You don't have to get crazily lower. Right? Any amount of paint that is on our blade, we can kind of come up and kind of kiss the front, drag it off towards the back a little bit. here and over there. Push it out, let it get smaller and smaller and smaller. We're basically looking down the edge of the ocean, which does not have to be pure white all the way to the back. Remember that, okay? Doesn't have to go all the way. It doesn't have to be as bright at the back as it is at the front. Seriously, that's fantastic. Fantastic. Remember, we're behind a planet back here. We can't see everything. You can't see every single thing from back there. So if anything, you could claim it's in the shadow. If your horizon, which mine probably is not straight, and that's fine because it never is. But you can always claim it's in the shadows of that planet back there, right? Very neat. Now, remember, our eye is here on this guy, so we're going to change our angle. And instead of being on that same line like a train track, we're going to go a little bit steeper. And I'm talking about a little bit steeper. It's going to come up here and connect and roll over. And then this guy is going to flow down, right? Same sort of shape, just a little bit more room in between where we started. This one's very small, it gets a little bigger. This one's smaller and gets a little bit bigger. All right, there we go. Take it, scrape that paint, pushing harder and harder and harder to deposit the paint onto the canvas, right? Get it off of the blade. And the more that you have to do that, the more you're turning or taking the handle and putting it down here and smushing that last teeny tiny little bit on there. All right, now this line is going to change, so don't worry about what it looks like right now. What we're going to worry about is what the eye of our wave looks like. So we'll take our titanium white, we'll get in here, right? Boom, boom, boom. Start piping it in a little bit, and then we'll get smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's a little bigger on one end, a little smaller on the other end. And every time we do a wave, it's a different shaped eye, right? You can do what you want it to be bigger, make it bigger. You want it to be thinner, then make it thinner. It's all up to you guys. But as you can see, we've left a space in between this color because as we start to mix it, it's going to want to grow always, right? Every which way is where it's going to grow. And we're going to try to not let it touch this top part. We're going to get as close as we can without actually touching it. And so sometimes you have to turn the brush on a vertical angle like that. Kind of squeeze it up and jiggle it up right up underneath that guy. Now, since we've mixed it up a bunch, it's kind of all the same amount of that green. And so in order to make it a little brighter on the top and a little darker on the bottom, I'm just going to put a little bit extra paint up here and then touch it less. Less pressure, less mixes, less stirring up of our chocolate milk. So it stays brighter and then it mixes down into the darker color, which is still very bright, right? It's just less bright than the very top of our little eye of our wave. Now, this part, you're not really going to see a lot of any of the water behind it, which is why we just paint one single line back there, why it's angled on this side. But we don't have to follow along with our blade where it's going to go and then where it's going to crash over. You can almost see it, right? And you're going to cover over this anyway. So even if you went like this and made a big line and left that real heavy water right here, up here like that, you're just going to cover over it. So what we like to do is scrape up a little bit of paint, right? Little touch, little roll out there, a little bit more than we were using back here anyway. And we're going to judge about 2 fingers away from the edge of our eye. And this one's going to get way up here. Bang, we're going to tap against it. Boom, start tapping down, get right down underneath that last little line of our water, and then we can do whatever we want. Go back up. It could be equal, it could be less, it could be whatever, right? Very thick in the paint right there. So I'm going to wipe off my blade. I'm going to come in here, and we're going to attach ourselves onto that guy, and then turn the steering wheel. Turn it. Turn. Don't just pull it down. Turn it, turn it, turn it, turn it, turn it. Getting more and more. You see these little streaks? They're going to different spots on the canvas. One's down here, and then the next one's here, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, as they're lining up and flowing over the edge, right? So by the time that we get over here, we're literally almost going straight over to 9 o'clock, right? On these guys, we're going 8:30, 8, 7, and you never get down to 6, right? Always about 7:30. And I usually like to make this spot a little bit longer or a little bit lower than everything else in the middle. Bit higher up on the edges. Boom, 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 boom. Very cool. I can already see it, you guys. It's fantastic. Now, we need to get into our liquid white and our titanium white in about a half and half mix, like 50-50 of each, okay? Take the liquid white into the titanium white. Now, what is liquid white? Maybe this is your first time watching. Maybe you've never heard of it before. It's basically our very thick titanium white and paint thinner or odorless mineral spirits mixed into the same kind of very runny mixture, which just keeps all of our paints a little bit wetter, act more like water when you add that liquid white in, versus back here, you get a different look when it's just titanium white. So we're going to be flowing up and along this guy, right? So I like to kind of hit above the line, right? We're creating this line right here that we had made. We're making the same line, it's just with little splotches until you get right above the top of your wave, right? This is why we leave that 2-finger gap initially, right? Because now it's down to about 1.5. And by the time that we get in here and we start slapping in these little guys and smushing and pushing and going up here, staying closer to this than getting down here. You need to stick close to this guy, right? There can be a couple little dark separations and stuff, but you don't want to have too many. Stick close to that guy. Come up above the horizon and then start to change our angle. You can see as I'm smacking the brush against the canvas, it's leaving cool little bits up there, little bits of watery splash looking thingies, right? But I have to rotate my arm if I want them to continue to splash that way. Otherwise, they're all going to look exactly the same, right? So all we need to do out here is just make a little random mess. Doesn't need to be very big, okay? Just needs to be a mess, literally. A little mesh out there in the night. Kind of flattens off along the bottom down here. And then, would you believe that I used to leave them just like that? I'd be like, okay, on to the next step. No, not anymore, right? And again, this is why we leave that last little bit of distance in here, because we do not want this paint to touch this paint. And now that it is very wet and very watery and very heavily, right where we very first put it on, it's going to want to move and grow very quickly, okay? So you can either start out here, right? Or if you've done it a few times, literally 1, 2, 3 little swipes and pull it away. All we're doing is just agitating that paint just a little bit. You see the difference in how the softness is now? You get that couple little swipes. And if you can get one to kind of go out a little crazier, then that's okay. Over here, over there, wherever. Never staying in the same place for too long. Because if we do, we're going to overmix everything so much that it's all going to look exact, right? I want to leave all these little pockets, not, so vibrantly all these little dark pockets, but as we mix over together, because there was no paint there, it's dragging the other paint across there, becoming different, right? That's all you need is the differences. Look at that for an S-shaped curve. Oh, differences in color. Who has followed me for that long to remember, London has, to remember differences in color? It's very cool. Now,
I remember when you were H2 too.
That's true. That never happened, but that's true. There, a couple more little pieces just to help it break up and then turn into that line. Because that's all it's doing is as it starts to roll over, it starts breaking up and then turning into more little bits of water versus like one sheet of water. You know what I mean? So now our wave is basically telling us if we're lower down here and we've rolled up this way and then we've whipped around and rolled over here, it almost looks like a stretched out S shape, right? It's like if you took the tip of the S and the tip of the, and you stretched them out like that. If you don't believe me, turn your head on the side like this and look at it. It's this big S shape, right? This line right up and around, you get this crazy old S. That means that you've done a good enough job and that this, if we went straight across, we should cut through our eye, or at least a piece of it, right at the bottom right there, through all of that stuff, not touching the canvas, right? Just imagining, okay, I need to go all the way across here. It's basically telling me where to put my next line. And that way, our perspective will stay good. We'll keep our liquid white, titanium white mix. It's a 50-50 mix, same as right here. Okay, with my straight line across. You can even use a visual aid. And it's telling me right there, is that flat? That's flat right there. Basically, right here is where I need to start. And this is just the back edge of the water, right? We're going to cut down and cut down and cut down, leaving this cool little lip. If you've got enough paint on the blade and it's the right consistency of paint, then you'll leave that little lip. Now remember, the lip doesn't make any difference right now. We don't care about the lip. because we're going to extend this part, basically by getting behind it and pushing down a little bit more, and a little more, and a little more, just extending a little bit of room in between the wave and the lip, the very front of the water, right? Now, you don't always have to continue to go down. You can also cut back in to your wave, right? So if you have enough paint on the blade, you can get back in here and start changing it, right? There. Now, we've got a little bit of space in front. We've got our little tumultuous watery area up here, right? And we've pushed our wave back a ½ inch, which in real life is a long way. It's probably like 4 or 5 feet. We just move that wave back away from the edge of the water right here. Very cool. I like it. We're getting a little bit close to this brown. So what I'm going to do is, before we do anything else, I'm going to put a little bit of extra blue right in here because I need it to shine and mix with that brown. And I think the brown got a little bit too far up. Yeah. I saw you on Diamond Art Club. I was like, wait. Hey, wait, they're stealing art. And then I saw your name on it. That's so funny. Yeah, so we partner with Diamond Art Club. And they, I send them in images, and then they let their followers vote on which ones should be turned into kits, right? We have about 7 kits up there. So if you went over to Diamond Art Club and then you just search for Paint with Josh and you put a space in between the paint and the with and the Josh, and you'll find my kits, and you'll be able to see the really cool little, they're like little puzzles. They're just awesome. I love them anyway. Now, all this excess paint, right, we can decide based on the angle that we drag it upwards what it looks like, right? If there's not enough out here to create little patches, then we can go get more. If you don't like how this part looks, right, because we were doing this in a class the other day, and if you don't like the textured look of it, then what you do is you go back and brush it by the time we get done. But if we do like the textured look of it, right, then we can keep that guy. Remember, this guy can still continue to get lower and lower, and it can eventually line up with our little patches of stuff, right? And if we can keep them from getting too crazily bright, right, and covering up too much space. Now remember, it's just a bunch of stuff floating out there upon the sea. And so it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It's just a patch of stuff out there. There, a couple little light drags along the top of that guy, and you can start to fill in little spaces, right? We can even take our brush and brush some of this stuff back and get rid of some of these textured lines if we wanted to, right? Let's just see how it looks. Now remember, it's the same sort of thing that I tell you about with the brush. So if you're out here on the edge of the wave, we're pulling very horizontally, right? Dropping off little bits that are going back that way. We'll fill in our little front area. And then as we start coming down, we're coming down from here like we're in the airplane, right? And then we're flowing up very softly. And the more you get in here, the more you're taking steps back, and then you're rotating more severely in there, right? And that way, as you get out here, they start to flatten out. They start to look a lot cooler. We can even change the whole look again, right? By forcing them backward. Boom, boom. How does your little wave look? Do you get a big old bright spot? It's okay. Scrub it in. It's got lots of color underneath to play with, right? The more that you rotate, the more round it's going to look, right? But you also have to show it running down the runway. So if we need a runway, that's got to be way back here now. And then we're going to come in here and severely rotate up. You know what I mean? All these things we can do. We're in control of. We can change how bright, how heavy, how, dark, all these things. We can do that. We can have the power. Like that He-Man and Skull guy. You know what I'm talking about. It's clearly said to just get engagement. I know who it is. Look at that for a wave. Now, remember, if you did this area above in our little spray bit and you didn't like it, a lot of times I don't either the first time. And so we got to come back in and pop in a couple more little bits, right? Just to make it a little chunkier. Maybe back here we pop in a few. And if we do not brush them all out, when we go to spritz in our little spray, then we're going to have all these little differences in brightness, in shadow, in amount of brushed outness, and heavy paint. So look at that, dude, that looks really, really, really neat. Okay, let's get a little bit more of our liquid white. We're probably due for a commercial break. So why don't you guys hang out for like 30 seconds. I'm gonna take my liquid white and titanium white in about a 70-30 mix. Titanium white heavy, right? So titanium white to liquid white, 70-30, and you guys hang out for like 30 seconds, and we'll be back right after these words. Equipment that we can actually see I'm talking about all of your comments. So not a single comment will get missed, nothing gets lost. I can see them on the television. And London right back here is checking everything out on the computer. So comment, comment, comment. It helps much more than you might think and helps boost engagement and gets us out to more people. So let's get back to the show and see what we got going on up there. I love that guy. Let's see what we got going on up there. Let's start in here with our liquid white and titanium white, right? 70% titanium white, 30% liquid white. We don't want to put on too much paint, right? So let's get a small roll and let's see how far we can make it go. Right, another little small roll, see how far we can make it go. We don't want to pull it down too much. Otherwise it'll get too bright and too crazy, okay? Let's dab off our 2-inch brush and then we'll get up on over sheer, everybody. You guys got to check in, by the way. Let me know where you're watching from as we take this paint and start to pull it down. Now, if I do this numerous times, okay, it's going to drag it down further and further and further each time. If I only do it a couple times, it's only going to drag it down a little bit, right? So what do I feel like it should look like today? The one thing that I need to do is keep a separation in between, and there's one question that I want to ask you guys, and that is, does this look like wet, sandy beach? For the millionth time, answer me in the comments now. Watching from Texas, New York, Oklahoma, Door County, Wisconsin. We got waterfall, ice wall, no, meh? Who said meh? Who said that? Okay, we get waterfall a lot, but what if we took all of those verticalities and turned them into horizontalities or whatever, and turned them into this glossy, just shiny area right down there in the water, in front of the water's edge. That's fabulous. Now, let's say we brightened it up too much. That's okay. We'll come back in with our dark brown. Right? We'll push back that bright haze with a little bit of darkness until it's as far back as we want it to be. You know what I mean? How far do I want it to be? Totally up to me. Do I want it to all be glossy? Again, totally up to me. If I need it, I can even take a little bit of black paint and put it back here at the back to make it really dark. Hey, that's all up to me, though. I get to decide what's happening back here. That movement on all this water. Yeah, that's fantastic. We're going to sprinkle in a couple stars and such. Speaking of which, why don't we get the tip of our fan brush out into our liquid white. Let's get out here, pop it on to that star, right, which already looks really cool. And then we're going to take our blade, and because the liquid white is very runny, right, it's going to run up and down very easily. Then, just to be sure, wipe that sucker off. Then we'll get in here, line it up for our horizontal guy, just like that. Right, get back in here. We can do a little one. These guys are a little smaller. Just like that. Oh, look, it's like whitish gold. That is fantastic, dude. Dudes. Okay, so Cosmic's got to start coming up with a title for this one. And you guys are going to have to help her out in deciding what should we call this little painting. Right? We get to choose. Well, she gets to choose, but a lot of times she chooses something that somebody put in the comments. So let her know what you think we should call her painting right here. And then she'll let me know what we're going to title it. Right? Oh, isn't that just epically fabulous? I mean, look at this right here. You know, this little bit of fish pish out here. Oh, just trapping in all that bright, shiny, reflective paint. I love it. I love it. Dude, the little shadowy bits underneath the water line. All these things, guys. These are going to be different for everybody, right? everybody's shadows and water and everything is going to all be different. So don't worry if yours looks a certain way and someone else's looks a different way. It's totally fine, right? I get the paint envy too. It's totally fine. I mean, not on Seascapes, because I'm like the master of Seascapes. That's why you're here watching me do a Seascape. Out there, over here, fabulous. Look at that, dudes. I like it. Now, again, if there was any spaces that were too heavy or whatever, I could just very lightly blow across them with my fan brush just to help the paint drag across there. Very light, very soft. There. Ooh. Same thing down here. We take that last little bit, that little lip that's on the front, pull it over to the side, whip it over this way. Gorgeous, right? That's the fish pish we talk about. The bit that comes up and then they stop and it recedes backwards, the backwash, as one of my students told me. It's called the backwash. And he was like a surfer dude, so I totally believed him. And now that's what we call it, a little backwash area. Doesn't sound the best, but you don't want to share a drink with this part of the water. But, yeah. Oh, man, look at that. And again, it doesn't even have to be as bright, fully bright, the same amount of brightness, or anything. Literally nothing has to happen out there. That's the best part about doing Paint with Josh paintings. The freedom that you get. Galactic tides, that's cool. I like that. Oh, man, it looks so good on the tubes. Yeah. Which? Splash on Tatooine, brah. I like that one. Summer Night Year 3030. I like that one, too. I mean, we could be on a different... You could call it, like, Planet P51b or something. I don't know. Planet Fish Pish 1. Space C, like spacey. I get it. Just put Kevin in front. No? Nobody? There we go. There, got one more brush to clean up, you guys. So what do we think? Where the moon learns silence. Okay, I dig it. I like it. You guys are getting like philosophical and stuff. Look at the shape of that wave. I think I'm going to shrink this little dark separator just a little. Yeah, little bit shrinkage happening because the water's cold. You know what I mean? It's cold out there in the ocean. Ocean in space, space, space. I just assumed it had like a echo when you. I just echoed myself. Yes. That's our tidal wave. I like that. Ocean in space, space, space. Backwash beach. I mean, I don't know. I like it. I mean, I wouldn't share a drink with anybody that was down there, but it's got some floaties in there. Yvonne's in the back, dry heaving. Lunar Bliss. I like that. Poseidon's Sky. I like that one too. Planet in the Side Pocket. Kind of like bowling balls. Billiard balls. Josh's head is the size of a bowling ball. We're going to come over here. It's so true, honestly. Let's see. So true. The horizon is meant to be off as it is getting darker behind this moon. You cannot see from the light of our very faint little light source out there, which is the reason why it starts getting less and less. Obviously, you would never see the shine of the water or the waves or the tumultuous foam so far away in the back of the horizon because it doesn't crash that far away, no matter what planet you're on. Let's get out there, launch in a couple little bits. And by the way, you can paint it however you want to paint it. Make it as straight as you possibly can when you do your version of this tutorial, and then send it in to me on Facebook because I'd love to see it. Either that or on the IG. We get people send in stuff all the time. And I can't wait to see your version. It's going to be amazing. Now, we've got this guy, and we got to put in our last and final detail, you guys. Yeah! And then we're going to do a light party on this one. It's going to be amazing. Amazing, you guys. Unlit horizons. I like that. I like that. It's really not even that far off, like honestly. A little bit, right? As it gets darker, you can't see things. Maybe you got fog on the horizon from the clouds. You can't really see the whole thing, right? All the things we tell ourselves to make it right. There we go. Okay, we're going to take our palette tool, our fan brush, and our liquid white, okay? Because we've got very dark sand down here anyway, very dark brown, very saturated area down there, right? We don't need the dark speckles. We only really need the white speckles. So we're going to take our, for 25 schmeckles, we're going to take our liquid white onto the brush, right? Tap it onto the blade so it spreads it out. And if you feel like you got too much, wipe off your brush a little bit. Come in here, turn it vertically. Did I say turd it vertically? Turd it vertically, and then start launching out little spritzes, and then start instantly turding the brush. I said it again, purposely that time. Turn the brush and the blade, and start flicking it the way that the water is crashing onto the beach. That will throw the specks and make them look natural, right? If we just come out here and start speckling away, then they're gonna look like they're being thrown at the wave versus the wave throwing them out into the night, right? So if you launch out a ton, it's going to be very heavy. They're gonna, if it's very heavy on your blade anyway, it could launch out in a crazy way, getting too bright or leaving a streak, right? A lot of the times you leave those streaks like that, and then it looks like a glob versus a spray of water, right? So you can control everything, what it looks like. All things are in your control, right? Very cool little wavy little thing crashing in, smoshing in there, right? And then the same thing, we'll do a couple little bits into our sandy area. We don't need a whole lot. The more you do into the sand, the more you cover up, right? The more it may look like a watery shine or watery spray that got that far away. And sometimes not, right? All depends on your undercolor down there. Now, of course, right, we got this they did the whole thing, and then this little streak of a brush speckle came out, or a bristle just popped out right in the last second and got stuck to the canvas. So now I got to redo this area, just again, tapping in a little thing, sprinkling on a couple little spritzes, and trying not to leave a brush bristle this time. There we go. Right, in our backwash area, in the sandy area, they look like crushed seashells and different little things that are happening out there. Excellent. Okay, so Cosmic has had ample time to come up with a paint, even 2 sands worth of time, like the sands of time, because we did it twice, right? No? All right, screw you guys. That's fine. You're in control. I like that. Wait, that says urine in control. You've added an extra in. That doesn't need to be there. Just you're in control. And that is you are, the contraction for you are. You're in control. Where the tide meets the cosmos. I like that. I like that. Okay, I'm going to finish washing off these brushes. Cosmic's going to hit us with a chidal out there in the night. It was so funny. I was watching that Universe show the other day, and they were talking about a pulsar or a magnetar, one of the two, and it just sits out there and like flashes this light around because it's spinning around so fast. And it literally said, it was like it just sits out there in space like a cosmic lighthouse. And I was like, what did that say? And so I recorded it and I sent it to Cosmic Lighthouse. Like, dude, you're famous. You're on that How the Universe Works show. Celestial coastline it is. All right. Oh, that is funny. You to make it funnier, you should have misspelled coastline. That would have really sealed in the funniness. Celestial coastline it is. All right. You guys are funny, dude. If you haven't been following me for like 2 years, one time we were naming a paint. I was letting somebody name the painting, and I said, okay, give me your final answer. Like, what's the painting going to be called? And in their final answer, they made a spelling error. And so instead of saying Celestial Surfer, it is, They said celestial durfer it is. And so I read it, I saw it, I read it out, and I was like, celestial durfer it is. All right. So celestial dose line. There you go. I like that. Okay. You guys are fantabulous, man. Remember, I just lowered down a bunch of paintings down to 89. Do like a sale this weekend, you guys. So if you're in the market and you don't want to spend hundreds, I totally get it. I got literally brand new paintings down at 89. All you got to do is head over there and check them out. So I'll give you a good segue to watch this commercial over here, right? So London, if you want to get the commercial ready to go, this one's 22.50, and we're calling it Celestial Durfer. I'm just going to put Durfer. Celestial Coastline. I think that's what I saw. Perfect. Over there, painted on 1/22/26. All going to go check out Paint. That's what that says. With Josh. And you put the last little bits. Not the only time I'll ever allow you to read my writing, even though it's horrible. You got to go over there, and we're going to go to commercial for just about 30 seconds. So all you guys have to do is sit there and just look at my pretty face when it pops up on the screen. So we'll be back after these words. Hey guys, what are we doing over here? Did you know we've got more than 2,800 videos that you can watch and learn from? And we're actually going to upload this video to one of our playlists right now. You didn't know we had playlists? Tons of them from 2021, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Seascapes, landscapes, everything. Get over there, watch it. I don't know what else to tell you guys to do, but I got to get back to work. So get out of here. What are you doing? Came out so cool. Oh, we're back. Hey, everybody. I just want to spin this light around because we're going to do an awesome light party. It's a little darker, a little bit more ambiotic or whatever. Again, I'm not a spellman. That's why I'm a painterist. So, we're going to do a light party, which means we're going to flash intense light at the screen. It's going to make it change and go all crazy on your phone, right? So if you're sensitive to that, I'm letting you know now to look away for about the next, I don't know, 30 seconds-ish. I'll tell you when it's okay to look again, when it is, in fact, okay to look, right? Until then, don't look at your phone, okay? Now, everyone out there that's going to stay and watch the light party, okay? You guys are going to type in the words, I'm ready, legally relieving PaintWithJosh of any liability, LLC, perfect, right? But type in the words, I'm ready, right? And then close your eyes right after you hit send. I'm ready, hit send, close your eyes. And as soon as you hear me go, light party, then you want you to open your eyes and tell me the first thing that catches your attention, okay? Let me know as soon as I say it. So type in the words, I'm ready, and then close your eyes. And when I see enough I'm readies, then we're going to get it going in 3, 2, 1. So open your eyes and tell me what catches your eye the most. Is it the twinkling star, the planets, the crashing wave, maybe the birds, maybe the water retraction backwash area? What about it is catching your eye in the night? Let me know. The twinkling star, the crashing wave, the waves and stars, the star. Everybody's focusing on the star. It's gorgeous. It's fantastic. The star, pulsing in the night. Very cool. Okay, so we're back to normal lighting conditions. So if you are sensitive, you may now look back. And now what we're going to do is something called the RGB party. Meaning we're going to take solid red light, right? Basically turn all of our white lights red. And then we're going to turn all of those red lights green. And then we're going to turn all them green lights blue. So all I need you to do from here on out is just let me know which of the 3 colors you like the most, right? So red, green, or blue. We're going to go red in 3, 2, 1, red. That's it. Tomorrow I'm coming in and I'm just going to paint a red. I'm just going to use red on a black canvas. And this is what I hope it looks like, literally. Literally. Going to go green in 3, 2, green. Tricked you up a bit. Dudes, look at the detail on the planet. Fabulous. Okay. Yeah, like the atmosphere. It's about to disappear when we go blue in 3, 2, blue. Oh, it's still kind of there. This looks much more like ocean water now, and that looks like land. You know what I mean? It's like the bottom of Africa if you tilt your head. Pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to come back to normal lighting conditions. What was your favorite of those 3 colors, my friends? Wow, it looks so neat in normal light. And then we'll put the supremely bright light onto it so you can really see all the details. Details? Just to be annoying. I think I heard Bob say it like that once. Like, or something. You know, the details instead of details. I don't know. Like, I say it both ways, but when I'm on the show, I always say everything weirdly. So. So we like the green, we like the blue, we like the red, the green and the blue. You guys came out so fantastic, dudes. Literally. So, I'm going to try to run over and sneak something to eat real quick. I'm not sure if we're going to come back. I was very, very, very tired before I did the show, and now I've got, like, show energy, and that might dissipate right after I get off the air. So we're going to have to see. Oh, yeah, London's making spaghetti. Ethical spaghetti, though, from Rick and Morty. That's what you got to get. Okay, yeah. Maybe we don't come back. I don't know. It is Monday. I mean, you know, well, my Monday anyway. You're right. All right, maybe we'll have to come back. We'll figure it out. Okay. I do love you guys. In the meantime, send me your versions. You can figure out how to paint the moons on my tube in the quote-unquote how-to playlist. I keep saying this to everybody. It seems like no one's listening. Check the playlists, right? Is it a Seascape? It's going to be in the Seascapes playlist. Was it in 2025? There's a playlist for that. It's like there's an app for that, right? You want to learn how to do something, how to put on the clear, how to make the moons, how to wash your brushes. There's an app for that. It's in the playlist of the how-to. Do you want an autumn painting? There's a playlist for that. What else do we have playlists for? Was it a TikTok live show that you saw me paint? There's a playlist for that as well. So, beyond that, you guys have all been amazing. I love yous all so much. We can't wait to see your version. So send it into Facebook, which is at official PaintWithJosh. There's way too many fake ones out there. So now it's official PaintWithJosh. Send me in your photo via Messenger. I can't wait to see it. And until we see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day. And blah. Well, that one came out amazing. I want to thank you guys for being here, liking, subscribing, tapping the screen, commenting, and interacting with me. It's all been fantastic. In the meantime, before we get to our next painting, be sure you check out PaintWithJosh.com because there's always something else to look at over there.